This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Thrown under the bus.
No.
Always live, always real, always unpredictable.
I'm not okay with that.
It sounded good when I thought.
Log on and join our live conversation.
Yes, I don't like
right.
that.
You're 100% right.
Daily Blast Live starts now. Daily Blast starts now. Let's get ready and milk our cow.
Thank you, Creed Bratton. We have a new interview with the Office star coming up later in the show. Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It is Monday, July 8th. We are live, and we're talking about what you're talking about right now. I'm here with Stephanie, Tori, Brandon, and I am Sam.
Hey, ladies! Hey, what's going on?
You're so lively today.
I'm happy to see
I'm
you
digging
all.
it. I'm digging it. We're happy to see you too, Brandon. Let's start with some really cool news. The U.S. women's soccer team is flying high after their historic win in the Women's World Cup final yesterday. They dominated the Netherlands 2-0 to take home the World Cup. The team was celebrating after their victory in the locker room, singing "We Are the Champions," drinking champagne, and even twerking like champions. Okay.
That's not twerking.
That's twerking. But now the team has a new battle ahead of them, their legal fight for equal pay. And soccer fans seem to support them, erupting into chants demanding equal pay following their win. 28 members of the team have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation alleging gender discrimination. In response, the U.S. Soccer Federation says that any alleged pay differential is due to differences in revenue generated by the teams. Here's what team captain Megan Rapinoe says about that.
I think everyone is ready for this conversation to move to the next step. I think we're done with the are we worth it, should we have equal pay. Every player at this World Cup put on the most incredible show that you could ever ask for. We can't do anything more.
Not only did they put on an incredible show, Tori, but according to ESPN Sports, MSN Sports, these ladies generate more revenue and garner higher TV ratings. So why is there pay disparity here?
There's a history. There's a context of it. They used to be making 1/9. Now they're making almost 90% of the men. So we are seeing progress. But she's absolutely right. As good as a soccer player she is, she's a great speaker. She's quick to the point. She's not angry. It's not even a question. We should be paid more. They are a vehicle of change, this team, and they had to win. And they did.
And absolutely they did. And they're going to win this next one, I feel like, because they have a lot of people behind them. Sports, one thing I love about it is performance-based. And these women are performing. And this is no knock to the men's team. There's no knock to them at all. But how would you feel if you're doing better works than someone and they're still getting paid more than you?
Welcome to being a woman for the past 8 years.
Right, okay, they're doing phenomenally, and, you know, kudos to them. They've won the World Cup. It's amazing. They completely thrashed England. You deserve that title. But this is the first time we've seen them actually pulling in similar ratings. So in terms of advertising, in terms of people gaining interest.
But now that they are, don't they deserve pay parity?
They've already gone up like 90% of the pay of men. I think if this continues on over the next year or so or season, then of course, yes.
But
which
is cause and effect. Maybe because we gave more money to them, people actually got to see them.
I think it's because there's been so much press around it and because they've played well.
But you also have to look at the variables. As Tori is stating, in the past, they did not receive equal marketing, equal coverage. So therefore, naturally, they're going to have less viewership. But even with that, they have soared to the top, more viewers, more jerseys being sold. So I think now more than ever, they deserve pay parity.
And Stephanie, this is their fourth World Cup. Their fourth. Our men have 0. So.
Interesting point.
Yeah, but the viewership is not the same. The advertising is not the same. It's only just happened. Give it another few years and maybe.
Hey, good job, England. Sorry.
Okay, let's get to this next story. It is the running of the bulls in Spain right now, but the annual event where people run in front of a group of cattle turned violent when 2 Americans were injured, and one of those men, a 46-year-old from San Francisco, is in grave condition after he was gored in the neck by one of the bulls. He's reportedly fighting for his life right now. The 9-day festival is a centuries-old tradition which brings in 1 million tourists to the Spanish city of Pamplona each year. But the recent injuries have many asking, is it time to get rid of this tradition? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. What are you shaking your head about?
I mean, this is no news story.
I agree.
People get gorged and gouged by this every single year. You know what you're going for when you go to that festival. You know what? I've got no sympathy for the people. You put yourself in that situation. It's like getting in the car with a drunk driver. You know exactly what you're putting yourself in for there. You know what happens to these bulls afterwards?
Yeah.
They get killed.
They get tortured.
They get tortured.
Killed.
They get stabbed. They go up against matadors. This is also riling them up, so it's like causing even more stress. In Spain, bullfighting and this situation is protected, so it's going to continue to happen regardless of what's happened to these tourists, which is very, very sad.
I hope less tourists go to these events.
They
and
will.
I know that these towns depend on the economy, but they're also losing money now because more people are aware that these animals are tortured and stabbed after the fact. So, and I know I'm getting the wrap up, but I think it's important for our viewers to hear this.
Yeah, but this started as like some sort of sacred festival. It just like anything, like Cinco de Mayo, St. Patty's Day. People have turned it into something
Human
more
sacrifice.
selfish for them. More selfish for them.
Traditions can become outdated. This is antiquated.
This is very antiquated and it's barbaric.
Only 15 people have died in 102 years.
But look what's happening to the bulls.
15 people.
2 bulls out of how many bulls throughout?
No, every single one of those bulls gets tortured and killed afterwards.
I understand that.
In a year, over 250,000 bulls actually get slaughtered in Spain for this tradition.
And it's in a very torturous fashion.
How do we tell other people how to run not only their country but their festivals, that sort of thing? We have things here in America that we need to get shut down, that sort of thing.
I think we're just voicing our opinion on what we think is an antiquated tradition.
I think a lot of people feel like it's unethical and it's barbaric. So let's see what our DBL Nation has to say. They say, is it time to get rid of the running the bulls?
Only
60% of you say yes, it is time. All right, so we are in agreement there. This next story is getting a lot of heat on social media. Starbucks is coming under fire right now over an incident at a Tempe, Arizona store. The popular coffee chain has issued an apology after a group of 6 police officers were asked to leave a store on the 4th of July by a barista. Why? This was apparently because a customer said the officers made them feel unsafe. The Tempe Officers Association tweeted about the incident with this dump Starbucks logo, saying they, quote, don't appreciate Starbucks asking our cops to leave your establishment on the 4th of July. Several of those cops are veterans. Starbucks apologized, saying, quote, when those officers entered the store and a customer raised a concern over their presence, they should have been welcomed and treated with dignity and the utmost respect by our partners. What do you think about this, Brandon?
I'm half and half about it because I understand there are a lot of people who are so outraged about this. But what about being asked to leave or getting the cops called on you because of the color of your skin? So there's one thing about that. But then I think that Starbucks is going to get ahead of this. You know, I think they're going to try and engage in some sort of dialogue because remember they shut down 8,000 of its stores just for racial bias education.
They are doing that already. They're going to meet with the Tempe police and try and figure out what's going on.
Well, they've done that in the past, too.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I'm fully 100% against this. I understand police brutality is a big issue. I absolutely respect your right to protest in the civil disobedience in a way. You can't tell people when they're doing their jobs with respect to leave.
Yep.
It's completely discrimination. Yep. They asked them first to get out of their sight line, and then when that was enough, or they could leave. It's completely disrespectful. It's completely inappropriate. Starbucks should have known better. They've been hit with a couple of these. They got to get better at this. And as the barista, I don't know what you were thinking to ask these men to leave.
Yeah, and at first glance, I thought this was very disrespectful, and it is. But it does highlight what's going on in Tempe.
Yes.
There's a lot of distrust and fear right now in Tempe when it comes to their police officers. And I went on social media to kind of check myself because my initial gut response was, this is disrespectful to the police officers. Yeah. But knowing that local Tempe residents are saying, I too fear the police. I too fear, especially given that 14-year-old boy back in January was killed by a Tempe police officer. So there is a lot of upset there. Then it's on Starbucks. I mean, it's not on them, but they've already initiated in the past. It's called Coffee with a Cop,
right?
Where they're trying to do community outreaching with police officers and citizens. And I think if they can do more of this, then at least we can bridge that gap.
On a national level.
Let's
take it out of Tempe and put it in Philadelphia, New York City, everywhere because
Arizona particularly has a real issue with police. They really do. Joe Arpaio didn't help matter, so you're absolutely right. But I don't think it's the place to do it.
I think having the conversation is a first start. Let's hear on this show. All right, a hip-hop and country star has come out of the closet. Lil Nas X, the country rapper who shot to fame with his song Old Town Road, came out as gay at the end of Pride Month in a series of tweets. Now the musician is opening up about his decision in an appearance on a British morning show where he walks in front of the camera.
You've given hints. What do you think you've revealed?
That I am gay. I mean, it's just something that, you know, I was considering just like never just doing it ever, just like taking to the grave or something. But it was like, I don't want to just live my entire life, especially, you know, how I just got to where I'm at, just like not doing what I want to do. So, you know, and I'm also, I feel like opening doors for more people who.
Well, yeah, it's important,
you know,
isn't it? Because you are now a role model.
He definitely has a huge platform now. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it is a big deal, especially in certain homes and counties. So what do you think about this?
I think he chose to do it in like the most perfect way ever, and what a beautiful way at the end of Pride Month, which was just celebrated, was absolutely massive in London. I think as well, maybe he felt a bit safer announcing this news in England. I feel like the community there is a little bit more open than in America. What we need to remember is this is still, I mean, to us, this is very normal and it's a great thing, but in a lot of places in America, he can get really penalized for this, and you know, so I think it's so brave. We need to remember, you know, a lot of people feel very scared, don't feel that they can tell their friends, their family. We've had people here. We've had the valedictorian that couldn't even give his speech.
But
so, you know, I think it's very brave.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. But, you know, at this point, Frank Ocean has come out as gay. Cisco has come out as gay.
I think that's the point.
Tyler, the creator,
I think that it's not a big deal.
Like it's not. Thank you.
I completely agree with you. The fact that a gay man, a gay black man in chaps is #1 on the charts, and it's not that big of a deal.
But I'm with
tremendous.
Stephanie. It is. It's not a big deal for us and maybe all the major cities in America and the world, but it is for a lot of households. Some children don't feel comfortable coming out because they fear that they'll be kicked out of their home or they'll be discriminated against, or even worse, violence against them.
I agree with you.
So I agree with Stephanie
but
here.
But pop culture-wise, we've moved very
I know, but a lot of those young kids probably look up to him, and maybe it'll give them the confidence
I hope so.
to feel better about themselves.
Put it in your music.
So way to go. Kudos to you. DBL's Live will bring you breaking news as soon as it happens. Coming up, Tori sits down with the hilarious office star Creed Bratton and gets the scoop on his new show. And you, the viewer, are our 5th host. A mother gets arrested for leaving her 4-year-old child in the car while she went to a job fair. Some people say she deserves a break. What do you think? We share your comments coming up next.
Keep it down there.
Hi there, DBL Nation. Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital Team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news right now, but I think we might be going to the desk soon. But not yet, so I've got a little story for you. We were talking about, you know, the women winning the World Cup. Congrats to the U.S. women's team. That's awesome. The U.S. men's team actually lost last night against Mexico. Funny story, the Mexican soccer team was staying in my hotel this weekend, so I got to meet a lot of them. They were really intense, and there was cameras everywhere, and there were like gates up because there were so many fans. At one point, we had gotten back from dinner, and all the gates were set up because the team was getting off the bus, and we had no way to get into the hotel, so we had to follow them, and so we were just waving to people while they were cheering. It was pretty funny. Anyway, let's go to the desk and see what's going on. I think they're ready to chat. Let's go. Hey guys, excellent. You guys ready to chat a little bit up here?
Yes? Want to share your story?
No, thanks.
We're sharing vacation
I'm going to be
stories.
like the country guy.
You just walked straight across the campus
with chaps on.
So, Corey, what I was talking about is the U.S. men's team. They did not win last night. They lost against Mexico. So they can't pull it off. The women pull it off. What do you guys think about a women's versus men's match?
That's.
That'd be fun.
Men will
beat the women.
Men will beat the women.
I don't know. A lot of people are saying
They scrimmaged some college a couple years ago and got beat by some college.
We have to look.
It's a lot different now.
It's not when it comes to
different
biology. Like you look at the fastest female swimmers in the world versus the fastest male swimmers, the fastest soccer or the best soccer players, football players. It still doesn't change the fact when it comes to pay disparity.
No, of course it doesn't.
But I don't know if that would be an even matchup because of biology.
But
simply not because of skill,
no,
but because of biology.
I bet women are more fun to watch. Okay, really quick, Brandon, Michael Loveland wants to know, how was France? You were there.
I didn't go to France. I actually didn't get a chance because
because
we were going to go, but then my football camp got moved from Germany to Netherlands, so I had to go to the Netherlands instead of going down to.
Can you imagine?
to
I also want to address something. Steve and George, I don't think women's soccer isn't cool. I don't think it's not cool compared to the men. I just think realistically it doesn't have as big an audience. It's not that I don't respect them as
You're talking
players.
about it
In terms of
history. Welcome back to DBL. It is time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. A single mom in Florida is being charged with child neglect for leaving her 4-year-old alone in a car to attend a job fair. She allegedly left her daughter in the car for more than an hour with air conditioning, a cell phone, and instructions to call the police if something bad happened. The woman's bail was initially set for $5,000, but it was cut in half because her lawyer argued that she was struggling financially as a part-time college student and that she also made attempts to care for her daughter while she was away. So DBL Nation, does this mom deserve a break? Let's get right to your comments.
All right, Andrew from Facebook says, no breaks. It's against the law. Stop leaving kids and animals in cars, period. I was trying to find a way to be on this woman's side. I mean, if she had tried to use every single opportunity or whatever to be able to find some sort of caretaker, but she was at that job fair to find a job to maybe have money for a nanny. It's just unfortunate. I'll leave it up to the prosecutor's hands.
Jamie from Facebook says, well, they'll bash this mother instead of making affordable daycare or providing on-site children's services at these fairs. So, a really great point. My first thought was like, how dare she? And I'm like, whoa, Tori, slow down. She's trying to get a job. She's trying to figure it out. Now, here's my only thing. When the police found the kid, she was, quote, visibly upset and didn't seem to know how to work the phone. That bothers me. But maybe let's move to getting child care at a job fair.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a good move.
Snicky, I hope I'm saying that right, hi Snicky, from Facebook says, why didn't she seek help to look after the child while she attended the job fair? I will never get how a mother can leave a child unattended anywhere, especially in a car. That's a scary mum. Oh, Snicky, I think that's a bit harsh. You know what? I think she definitely did. She probably asked her friends, her family, and I think this is definitely a last resort. At the end of the day, she's trying to get a job to help and provide for that child. We don't know what her circumstances are. I think it's more of a call to action to the job fair to provide child support services.
And Shakima from Facebook says, I just feel she didn't want to harm her baby. She simply wanted to get a job to provide for her family. Empathy should be used here. I get it. But listen, as a mom, you can't leave your 4-year-old alone in a car. You just can't. What if the air conditioning, what if the car ran out of gas? Your child in a hot car will survive just a matter of minutes. So this is neglect. I do feel for this mother because she's clearly at her absolute wit's end. But doesn't this highlight the fact that we need mandated childcare in this country, like other countries? Absolutely. So perhaps if we as a country supported families, it wouldn't have come to this.
All right, Barbara from Facebook says, no break. What she did was against the law. What if her daughter was taken? Agree. I think we've kind of talked about every opportunity that that could have been used here. So it's unfortunate because I don't have any kids. I'm not a single father or anything, so I've never been put in that situation.
Yeah, I feel for her. That must be really hard.
It is true, and the police were saying exactly what this Barbara said, is that they weren't as much worried about the heat as that anyone could get in and drive away with the kid. It's on. You know what I mean? So
and the child was very upset.
Visibly
very upset.
So
I know. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for writing in. We love hearing what you have to say. Stevie Wonder left fans stunned with an update on his health. So Raquel, you have the news on that. Please share.
Well, Sam, Stevie Wonder says he will have a kidney transplant in the fall. Now, he made the announcement to fans this weekend at a concert. The 69-year-old music icon says he'll do 3 more shows before taking a break to focus on his health. Stevie says the surgery is scheduled for September. He told fans he wanted to let them know what was going on before any rumors started. He says he has a donor match and reassured fans that he will be okay.
Oh, I'm so happy that he has a donor match. That's the hardest part.
By far, the waiting is the hardest part. So and if this can provide anyone to look into transplant, we've known a lot of people here. Whose parents have done that. Please do so, including
and being a donor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was for bone marrow, but still, you're still saving someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Well said. Coming up on DBL, Tori gets to live out her Dunder Mifflin dream as she talks with Office star Creed Bratton. That's next in today's Chatting with the Stars.
What's up, you guys? All right, first off, major news. Can you just scroll down a little bit? I know you're like, what is that? Well, they're pants. Pants song! Monday day, pants song. Tricky pants. Tricky pants. Don't I look like this? So, okay, I'm definitely gonna trip. I wanted to go back to what Zoe Rose said, and she was talking about Lil Nas, and she said Lil Nas X isn't the first gay black man. We have Frank Ocean, as Brandon had said, and I think that's my point, that like, we already have someone. Like, I told my parents over coffee in the newspaper, I was like, oh my God, Lil Nas X is gay? A gay black man is #1 in the charts? And they were like this. Cool. Now I know I'm from DC and it's much more liberal, but how cool that that's not the biggest deal in the world. And that he was like, I thought y'all knew. Like, I think that really says something compared to a Matthew Shepard who was beaten to death because he was gay, which is not that long ago. So I just want us to take account of how quickly the rights of the gay community have shifted. And in a large part, in my opinion, to DC, that's because of organization. They organized well, that community organized, they grassroots, and they fixed it. And now we're gonna look at the passive-aggressive card holding that I thought was over. Nope, this means I'm needed at the wall, but guess whose birthday it is? It's Steven's birthday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yay, I thought it was. Okay, good. Okay, bye.
Welcome back to DBL. You know Creed Bratton from his self-titled character on The Office. Well, I got to sit down with the actor to talk about his new show, and I even got inspired to live my own Dunder Mifflin dream. Take a look. Creed Bratton, welcome to Daily Blast Live. Now, Creed, the whole internet is going crazy because Netflix just announced that The Office is leaving in 2021. It is the service's #1 watch show. So, Creed, suggest a few activities that we fans can do to pass the time after The Office leaves.
I don't even know how to comment on this, Tori. There's people outside my door right now screaming with placards and stuff. And save Creed, don't get, I like they're going to get rid of me because they're moving it. I don't know what they're doing.
Now, the story of your character joining the cast of The Office is insane. You basically wrote yourself in.
I was working on the Bernie Mac show, and Ken Kwapis, the director, came on, and I was a big fan of The Office, so I beseeched Ken to see if he could get me in on the show. He told me he'd try to work me into the mix. I wrote my own talking head, about an hour's worth of material, shot it, and that's it. Then I was on the show, so that was the story.
So wait, you can write yourself into a show?
Hey, brah, I've been meaning to ask you, can we get some Red Bull for these things? Sometimes the guy's got to ride the bull. Am I right?
So Creed only calls me Bra because he doesn't know my name, and we've worked together for 6.5 years. So.
Perfect. Well, speaking of your new show, the theme of Into the Dark culture shock is incredibly relevant today. We talked about stuff on our show and every week about it. Immigration, assimilation. Talk to me about your experience on the show and how it is sort of borderline mirroring what's going on right now.
Absolutely. We have a Hispanic woman, I should say, from Mexico. She is trying to come in she's pregnant now, and she's trying to get into America to have her baby born there so she can have a better life for her child and herself. When she crosses the border with a coyote, she gets involved. It's like the immigration put into a cell, but it's far worse than anything you could possibly imagine. It's creepy and horrific. I can't give away details because they have to see the show. Culture shock, folks. It's important.
On Hulu, it's starting this 4th of July. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration.
I am Patti Donnelly, and I am the Senior Supervising Producer at Daily Blast Live. I manage the show and the staff, and I oversee creative and help pick the stories. And I also help by just using my past experience to better produce pieces and content on the show. A typical day at DBL for me starts at 6:30 in the morning, and that is super early. So it generally starts with me hitting snooze 4 times and then going to Starbucks and then rolling in at 6:30 on the dot. whew, it's hard. And in the morning when we come in is my first meeting of the day. It's at 6:30 and it's the creative content meeting, and it's with just 4 other producers and then Chris Clark, the executive producer of the show, and myself. And basically we hear what stories are going on, what has been happening overnight, what the news is, and we start planning the show and what we're gonna put in it and what stories we care about. It's actually my favorite time of the day. It's really fun and it's my favorite thing ever, which kind of sucks that it's like in the morning, because after that, then there's nothing to look forward to. But I love that meeting. Since it's such a small group, we laugh a lot and tell a lot of jokes, and just come up with some really great ideas because of it, and it's really awesome. What I like best about working at DBL as opposed to other shows is that we have a really cool culture here, and it is a lot different from when I worked in LA, meaning we put the show above, you know, we care about the show, we want the show to do well, but we don't put it above ourselves. And that's something that a lot of times in LA you sacrifice a lot to make sure the show is awesome. And here we, I think, almost have our priorities in balance a little more, and we laugh a little bit more because of it.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. What do we have, Tori?
What was so cool is people wrote in, including Zoe Rose, who says, you know, he's not even the first black gay superstar musician we have. Well, Tyler the Creator is bi. We also have Frank Ocean, as Brandon said.
Cisco. Thong song.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if Cisco's confirmed.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I dyed my hair one time because he was blonde.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is cool. But I think it's great that it's not as big a deal as it was. So good on the gay community coming so far.
Yep. All right. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.